After a 13-month wait, Doctor Who is finally back this Saturday with the first of its 60th anniversary specials, The Star Beast. There's lots of hype around the specials, and with this episode in particular, there are lots of things, both new and old, new and returning, to look forward to. So without further ado, here are my 10 picks. First of all, we do of course have the 14th Doctor, David Tennant, returning to the show for the first time since the Day of the Doctor, and for the first time on a sort of full-time basis, a semi-full-time basis, since his original era ended in 2010. Never before in the show's history has a new incarnation been played by an old actor, and of course there will be this mystery in all three specials as to how the Doctor has got their old face back. It'll be very exciting to see David Tennant back, just first and foremost in itself, because he's a very popular Doctor. He's the first Doctor that I watched. He was the Doctor at the time that I got into the show in 2008. And to see him playing this new incarnation as well, although it has been sort of said in interviews and things that he won't be too different to the 10th Doctor, because otherwise there'd be no point in it being David Tennant, there will nevertheless be a sort of older, sort of wiser aspect to the 14th Doctor compared to the 10th. And obviously, since the Doctor was the 10th Doctor, there have been another 3 Doctors in the interim. The 11th Doctor, the 12th Doctor, the 13th Doctor. Lots of stuff has happened, lots of stuff has gone down, and of course David Tennant himself is that little bit older as well, so hopefully all of this will contribute to creating an incarnation that is the same, but also slightly different. Next up, we have Donna Noble also returning, Catherine Tate playing the character that she first played back in 2006, such a long time ago. But yes, back again as Donna Noble, following her stint in the TARDIS in Series 4. But again, the mystery here, how can Donna return? How will she be able to interact with the Doctor? Because, of course, the end of Series 4, we saw Donna's mind wiped because of the whole sort of meta-crisis thing that happened there. And we briefly saw her again in the 10th Doctor's final story, The End of Time, and there we saw an example of what happens when Donna remembers all her adventures with the Doctor. Basically, her mind burns and blows up and everything goes crazy. So how will that play into this? Clearly, there's going to be some workaround that at least allows Donna to interact with the Doctor. Will she get all of her memories back straight away, if at all? That remains to be seen. But Catherine Tate and Donna Noble, fantastic actress, fantastic character, one of the most loved companions, and certainly, her and David together, one of the most loved Doctor companion pairings, full stop. They were so great, the chemistry between them was so great, and to see them again, and to have the chance to see them again, is going to be really, really special. But that's not all, because Donna will be joined on this occasion by her daughter, who is the third item on this list, Rose Noble, played by Yasmin Finney, a brand new character who, when we last saw Donna in The End of Time, hadn't even been conceived of, both literally and metaphorically. So Rose is apparently 15 years old. She's grown up in this interim period, in the interim years since we last saw Donna. She'll be sort of playing the role of Sharon, who was a character in the original Star Beast comic, which we'll get onto a bit later on. But she looks like a brilliant new character in her own right, and will no doubt attract her own fans outside of Donna, and not least because she's the first mainstream trans character in Doctor Who in terms of on-screen Doctor Who. We've had trans characters on audio and things before, and in the main show we had that grunt character played by Bethany Black in Sleep No More, but that perhaps wasn't the best role representation wise, and certainly with this and with Rose and with Yasmin Finney as well, who's already a bit of a star herself because of Heartstopper, there's a real feeling this is going to be a really positive bit of representation here, having a trans character in a loving family who support her, with Donna obviously, who we already know, and the rest of the Noble family, who we'll get onto in just a moment. And I think this is something that a lot of Doctor Who fans are going to be very grateful for, because Doctor Who attracts people who are a little bit different, or maybe outsiders or whatever. Doctor Who has a lot of trans fans, and so hopefully it's going to be a really positive bit of representation for them that they can relate to and respond to, but also more generally something just really educational for the rest of us as well, in terms of broadening our worldviews and seeing different types of people on screen. Next up, we do of course have the remaining members of the Noble Temple clan. So Donna's husband, Sean, who was basically just like a one-off throwaway character in The End of Time Parts 1 and 2, back in 2009 and 10. Of course, she ended up marrying him after a number of false starts, first of all with Lance in The Runaway Bride, and then there was her marriage to Lee in Forest of the Dead, which was in reality just like a virtual reality dream type thing. So now Donna does have her own husband, she's happy, she's got her family as well with Rose, she has her mum still on the scene as well, Sylvia, who, you know, is sometimes a bit questionable in her actions but loves her daughter deep down, and it's going to be great to see her again, and her slightly frosty relationship with the Doctor, which will no doubt come back to the fore here, given what's going on with Donna's memories and her not being able to remember the Doctor. But of course there is someone missing. Another member of this family unit is of course Wilfred Mott, Donna's loving grandfather who always supported her and was a brilliant character, played by the late Bernard Cribbins, who sadly passed away not long after filming some scenes for the specials. We don't know exactly which special he's going to be appearing in because the BBC haven't said. Hopefully it'll just be a nice surprise when he does eventually show up, you know, be it in the Star Beast or later on in the Giggle or whatever. But, you know, if one thing is for sure, it's going to be a really lovely, really emotional moment to see Wilf again and to see Bernard Cribbins again in his last screen performance. That's going to be something that's really, really emotional but lovely to see. At number 5, we have a brand new character played by a much-loved actress, Ruth Madeley, who has previously appeared in a whole host of things, including Russell Davies' drama Years and Years from a few years back. She played a character called Rosie in that, and she's since actually played a Big Finish companion to the 6th Doctor, and now she makes her screen debut in Doctor Who as Unit Scientific Advisor Shirley Ann Bingham. So this character looks to be a really integral part of the show going forward and of the new unit family, so to speak. We know that Kate Stewart herself will be returning in the 60th specials later on and also in next year's season. But yes, Shirley appears to be the real sort of linchpin and connection between the Doctor and unit in this new era. So that's going to be really great to see. Really looking forward to seeing what Ruth Madeley brings to this role. And again, another great example of positive representation here, because Ruth Madeley is a wheelchair user and Shirley Ann Bingham will be a wheelchair user as well. And whatever your thoughts are on the whole Davros debate that's blown up in the past week or so, this is going to be a really positive example of representation going forward for Doctor Who, breaking new ground. You know, we haven't had many characters like this before, certainly not a kind of recurring role. So this is a really great thing as well on that count. Entries 6 and 7 concern characters or monsters or aliens rather, perhaps that's the better way of putting it, from the original comic strip on which this story is based. So the Star Beast was, I think, a 1980 Doctor Who magazine comic strip, one of the very first comic stories, and that in itself is brilliant because, you know, it's harking back to not the very earliest days of Doctor Who, but sort of, you know, to, well, the classic era and to the early days of fandom as well. It's a comic that both Russell and David Tennant read as kids, so that's nice as well for an anniversary story to be using something like that and celebrating the impact that it had on them, you know, in the show in its current state. And the story features 2 brand new aliens who'll be making their screen debut in this episode. So we have, first of all, the Meep, commonly referred to as Beep the Meep, but apparently no, it is just the Meep. Now, the Meep is a little cute, cuddly, furry little creature who certainly appears to be cute and cuddly and furry, but actually, if the original comic is anything to go by, actually has another side to them. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out on screen, because we haven't seen anything so far of the Meep's supposed sort of evil side and true nature so far. We've just seen it looking really cute and cuddly and kind of putting on this performance and this act. The Meep will also be played by Miriam Margolyes in terms of the voice. She will be voicing the Meep. So again, that is just going to be priceless to hear her bring to life this little cute and cuddly furry alien. And the story's other aliens are the Wrath Warriors, who in the original comic strip are sort of on the lookout for the Meep. They've come to basically trap the Meep down and capture it because of all its crimes and the bad things it's been getting up to. So 2 new aliens in this story, 2 for the price of 1. And once again, you know, although that the focus has been, you know, quite rightly on the Meep, these guys look fantastic too in terms of what the team have done with the costumes, the creature costumes, the way they look. They're kind of these actors sort of on stilts by the look of things, kind of sort of creeping around. They've got these brilliant sort of red eyes and this kind of green carapace on their back, and these fantastic weapons that have built into their limbs and into their hands. So one of them's like a kind of a claw sort of thing, almost like the mouth of a snake, and the other one's more like a gun. And so once again, take inspiration from the comics, bringing a really kind of brilliant design and ambitious idea and concept to the screen, and there are going to be some really explosive scenes between these guys and units. But that's what we've seen from the trailers. Who knows what else we'll be seeing from the Wrath Warriors and what role they'll play in the eventual resolution of this story. At number 8, we have something brand new that we will have not seen before, barring the odd leak here and there. It is, of course, the brand new TARDIS set, which has been hyped up so much. We've heard things about this set sort of being impossible and sort of logic-defying and colossal in terms of its size and scale, the biggest, most beautiful TARDIS interior we've ever seen before. Obviously, we know that from the outside that the TARDIS shell and the TARDIS exterior is staying the same. They've used the Jodie Whittaker Chibnall era box, which is a brilliant design. So the exterior will remain, but the interior will be completely different. And like I say, aside from these leaks, which not everybody has seen, and which, hey, might not even be accurate in the first place, we don't know a thing about this TARDIS, and it has been confirmed that will be appearing for the first time in the Star Beast, and presumably will be appearing lots and lots after that as well. But yes, there will be some sort of reveal moment in this story, no doubt. That is going to be a really special thing to see, to have a new TARDIS interior unveiled for the first time as part of an actual broadcast episode. And on a similar note, we do of course have the new sonic screwdriver making its debut in this story as well. Obviously we're quite familiar with it now because we've had the toy and we've seen various images of it, but yes, that'll be exciting too. And number 9 is something that I haven't really seen many people talking about. That is the new title sequence. Now obviously, we know that this show has got a new logo now, or a sort of new old logo, that the Diamond logo, reinvented for 2023 and for the show's Diamond anniversary. We know as well there's a new arrangement of the theme tune, once again by Murray Gold, calling back to a lot of his old arrangements and all of the old elements that were in those arrangements, and the more sort of orchestral feel. We've heard that already as part of the 60th anniversary concert that happened a few weeks ago. But the key ingredient here that we haven't yet seen is the new title sequence. Now, what is this going to look like? We've heard barely anything about it. We know that that's going to be the music, we know that that's going to be the logo, but what the visual's going to be, is it going to be like a kind of blue vortex, sort of calling back to the 70s title sequences, when we last had a Diamond logo? Whatever the case, I'm prepared to be absolutely blown away by the titles. I'm sure with the money behind the show now, and with the budget and the vision as well, it's going to be something really nice, a real feast for the eyes. And finally, at number 10, we have the man behind all of this, Russell T Davies, Doctor Who's returning showrunner, once and future showrunner, the writer of this story, indeed of all 3 specials, and the kind of mastermind behind everything. He's the mastermind, it's his vision, he's the showrunner, and of course, because he's already had that era between 2005 and the beginning of 2010, we've already got some idea of what Russell's version of Doctor Who is like. It was a very popular era, one that lots of people look back to very fondly. So to have that sort of style of Doctor Who again, that sort of tone of Doctor Who, is going to be really exciting. Some hallmarks of Russell's writing. In particular, I think that the biggest thing was that kind of combination of and balance between the domestic and the extraordinary. The ordinary and the extraordinary. Having the aliens, having the monsters, having the Doctor, but also really grounding it in a world that we recognise, in a contemporary world, contemporary London, so that is something to really look forward to, and in particular as well because it's been 13 years since Russell last wrote Doctor Who, at least for the screen. It's going to be really interesting to see how he's developed as a writer, what remains the same and what calls back to the past, but also what new elements there are to his writing. So those are 10 things to look forward to in the Star Beast, but what are you most looking forward to in this episode? Be it the returning characters, the new characters, the new TARDIS, the new title sequence. Whatever your thoughts, please make them known down in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and make sure you're subscribed for more 60th anniversary content over the next few weeks. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.